Well, we're all going to be in for a treat. About 6 of them, actually. A client dropped off 6 60s Fenders, and I'm starting with this one, this old Fender Reverb unit. And general complaint is that it makes a lot of noise. I've already confirmed that it's safe to power on with the Variac and all that fun stuff. So let's just take a listen as it warms up. I actually made a mistake as far as making this video goes. When I was powering it up to make sure it was safe, this amp had a huge noise floor, much more than this buzz that you hear. I'm not sure if you even hear it. And it was a really loud static, and as I was just touching the preamp tubes, I noticed it was noisy on V1. If I moved V1, it got worse and got worse, and then all of a sudden it got better. So that tells me that the contacts in the tube socket were very dirty, and just moving the tube around a little bit kind of fixed that a bit. Now the owner has heard this noise, so he knows immediately what I'm talking about, but we will be cleaning those tube sockets. I wish I could have shown you guys, but I know we can do better than this. So I'm just listening to the output. All right, so if I go to 0 on the mixer, the dry signal, quiet. Reverb's got all that hum and buzz. There's also a sound I don't know if the microphone will pick up, like a Doppler shift kind of thing. Anyway, we'll play around with all that. Let me show you one little fun thing before I take this apart and open it up. Unlike the regular Fender amps that most of us use, in the reverb units there's this latch here, and when it's pushed forward like this, it dampens the reverb tanks, dampens the springs, and if you try to play it like this, it sounds terrible. This is so the springs don't get damaged in transport. When you want to actually play, you do that. And generally you would do that before you turn it on. Anyway, let me take this apart. Well, I've got the chassis out and I've got the screws for the doghouse removed, but I've not removed the doghouse yet. I've also checked the fuse that's in here. It's supposed to be a 3/4 amp fuse. It is a 2 amp fuse. I don't stock a 3/4 amp fuse, 750 milliamp, so I order those when I order whatever other parts are necessary for this beast. But in general, if you don't have a 3/4 amp fuse, you could use a 1 amp fuse. In some situations, you might even be able to get away with a 1/2 amp fuse, but you do not want to put a 2 amp fuse in here. That gives the amp, I'm calling it an amp, gives the amp almost no safety protection. Anyway, let's look under the doghouse here. It's stuck on, so I expect we're going to feel original caps that were stuck on by that foam adhesive in there. Little bulge, no surprises. I expected this. This thing is built very simple. It's just like any other Fender from the era, scaled down. So we have the doghouse with 3 filter caps. And on the inside, I don't think this amp's ever had any service whatsoever. I'm going to need to clean the tube sockets, change out the electrolytics, at which point I'll measure all the resistors, make sure everything's in spec. These tubes are also very microphonic. Hopefully they'll be okay-ish in a reverb circuit once everything's cleaned, and I'll clean the contacts on the RCAs going to the tank. And this one uses a 6K6. It seems to be okay. The tube is not microphonic, the preamp tubes are. And I will know more once it is getting clean, good power. When the pots are this clean, chef's kiss. So I'm going to get all the parts list together for this and change out for a grounded power cable, and we'll be cleaning it all up. You can see some zinc oxide forming on these nuts and screws here. Just get rid of all that yuck, get it clean. Try to get everything to match those magical pots. While I'll be doing all the videos on this reverb unit by themselves, the next one I'm going to open up is an old Princeton that you'll see probably tomorrow. And I'm going to do the same evaluation in it and do all the parts ordering at the same time to save shipping costs. So I'm about to put this aside and get to work on that Princeton, but this is a pretty easy peasy restoration. It's just such great shape. I've got a little bit of rusty spots I can clean up a little bit with some WD-40. Nothing crazy, just a little bit to soak in there and freeze the rust where it is now. It's not too many places, just a few little spots. Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks for watching.